James, and St. John parishes. During his time in the legislature, he has served as chairman of Ag, Forestry, and Aquaculture, as well as a member of numerous other committees. Over his time, he has invested and worked to invest, if you will, a lot of money into infrastructure, completing more than 85 miles of roads throughout his district. One of the pieces of legislation that he is the most proud of is his efforts to secure funding for the river reintroduction into the Marpaw Swamp to restore and enhance the health of that area. Also, he recently worked to enact a law to allow for laws to govern the industrial hemp production in Louisiana, and that outlined the process for the growing and processing of hemp. And of course, it prohibited the sale of alcohol or food containing CBD unless, of course, the FDA approved that. Representative Schexnayder has won numerous awards and been recognized by numerous groups across the state. As you know, he just recently led a very successful fiscal session that tackled a lot of tax issues and such. So he's here today to talk about those successes and, of course, talk about the looming veto override session that will begin tomorrow. So, Representative Schexnayder, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I got here, got a few little small things going on at the Capitol, but I appreciate y'all having me here. I'm sorry I interrupted y'all's lunch, but thank y'all for inviting me. You know, this past session, I think most of y'all have seen that, you know, we've had a body that has come together and has worked together well. I think you see the legislature, House and the Senate coming together and being a part of one. The Senate President and I have a relationship that I think other past administrations, when it comes to the legislature, hasn't had before. I think you see a relationship where we bring people to the table and accomplish goals that we've all set out, and that, you know, over my past couple of years being there, we haven't been able to do that in a big storm like we have in the past 2 years. Tort reform the first year, and last year successful in bringing some tax reform to our state that we haven't had in the past 40 years. This is huge for our state. We're only halfway there with that tax reform that we passed. We have to get it through on the ballot and get it voted for. I think we have a huge task ahead of us to get it out to the public, to explain to them what's going on with the streamlined tax reform. But I think in the big scheme of things, I think people out there, my travels of the state, meeting with chambers and rotaries and different groups, I think we found a success in explaining it to it and simplifying it, that tax reform is something that is needed. Ours is really, really complicated, and I think the processes that we have in place now have hurt small businesses. I think what we've offered up and gotten passed, I think, helps us move forward with that. The next thing, I think everybody knows we have the first veto session coming up in the history. It's not something that we were wanting or planned for or scheduled for. It's something new to everybody, the governor as well as the Senate and the House. I think the members and the public have spoken on what we need to accomplish. We are finalizing everything now as far as getting schedules and pieces in place. Even staff is wondering which steps to take next, because we've never had to do this before. So it's something new that I think is going to be huge for our state. I think it'll be a respectable debate on the bills and the issues that come up. I think we'll go in and we'll look at them, and then we'll move from there. I think the legislature on the House side for sure is in a good spot to be able to be successful in some of these overrides. Other than that, I think we're in a spot where I think as a state we can come out on top, and that was our whole change, is to make sure that we do for the state of Louisiana first. So,
Speaker,
great.
What's in your mind the timetable for making those first votes, like in the House, in your chamber?
We'll have a meeting today with staff and with members today to see what they're willing to do. I can tell you, and I think most of y'all know this is me already, I am one to try to get in and get things done and get moving as quickly as possible. This last session, I was a little disappointed because we were under a time crunch at the end, but we still were managing to pull it off. But the session before that, we finished ahead of time, and I think staff had told me we'd finished ahead of time, never finished ahead of time before in 15 years. So that was huge. But time frame wise, of course, we'll go in at 12. We'll read all the bills in tomorrow, and then we'll see where the body wants to go as far as, do we want to take up more bills today, which if we did, we would have to take a 2/3 vote to be able to do that. That is definitely something that would be on the table that we could actually do. If not, those bills would have to lie over to tomorrow, Wednesday, and us take them up. Yes, sir.
Can you walk us through what the procedure is going to be?
As far as
you need to, your sponsor will come up and say, I'd like to reconsider. Will there be a 2/3 vote on the reconsideration? Is there going to be debate? Are we going to be taking them, from the top to the bottom, or are you going to be picking and choosing out of the?
they'll come up just like they do in the session in numerical order as we read them in. The member who carries the author of the bill would have to go to the floor and make a motion. That motion, I understand, is a 53. It's just a majority to be able to bring it up. To pass it, to override the veto, would be a 2/3. So I look for us to go in and not have a full-blown debate. I think we go in and we discuss the governor's veto letter, see if it has any merit to it. From there, then we would take a vote. Melinda.
On that same subject, though, so is it the author of the bill who actually has to bring it up for a vote? Can somebody else try to bring up a bill for a vote, even if it's not their own? And then how many days are you expecting this session to last? Are you thinking it's going to go all the way through Saturday, or do you think y'all are going to end early?
So the first question is, the author is the one that can bring it up. I'm expecting us not to be there the full 5 days that we have. I'm expecting us to finish this early. I'm not here if that's for me. But no, I'm not expecting us to be there that long. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, with some of the members absent this week, are you concerned that that can have an impact on the 2/3 that you need to override the veto?
The members that have contacted me that will not be there, we've had 2 that have reached out to me that had already had things scheduled. So I don't have a huge number of members that are going to be absent. I don't think it will. I think we'll have the vote and be able to do what we need to do.
Have you been in touch with any of the independents or Democrats in the House to try and bring them over to the GOP side and have them side with you guys on the veto?
So I can tell you that I haven't reached out to any members. Members have called me, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and I think we have a road to success with both sides. I think you see where in the past sessions, the Republicans and the Democrats have come together and worked well together. I mean, we all have one common goal, and that's to make Louisiana better, and I think they've done that and seen that, so I think we'll be fine with that. Go ahead.
So you put out a message saying that you were in support of overriding the veto of the Fairness in Women's Sports Act. Where do you stand on the concealed carry bill?
Well, I've supported the bill in the past. That bill is something that my district is definitely concerned about. That's who I come up there to represent, is my district. My district supports it, and I'll support the bill.
I just want to make sure I understand. So on veto overrides, the line item vetoes in 516, HB 1 and 2, do you think the author of those bills, in other words, Representative Bishop or Representative Zarang, has to bring those up on the floor, or can the person who's affected by the
No, it has to be the author.
And is it going to be all 11 in the construction bill and all 8 in the line item vetoes in the appropriations bill at one time, or individually?
What's that? Say it again for me.
It's if the line item vetoes are brought up, will they be brought up all at one time, all the line item vetoes, the 11 in the construction bill, the 8 in the money bill, or will they be brought up one at a time?
That'll be left up to the author of the bill. I will meet with those authors today of all the bills today and see what their desire is, especially HB 1 and HB 2. If they decide to do them all at once, then that's what we'll do. It's totally in their call. It's their bill. Greg?
When you meet with your leadership team and with the authors, are you going to, can't make them, but are you going to encourage them to focus on bills that you think have the biggest chance of success for a veto override? Or will you say, okay, well, you got across the finish line with 56 votes, go ahead if you want to, but what's your desire on that?
So I'll tell you my opinion on it, and I haven't sat down with Paige, but I know in the past, our job is to not put each other in bad ways or to make bad votes. I think our success comes when we're together. So I'll sit down with those authors, see which bills we have that I think are worthy of being able to get pushed across, and then I will sit down with Paige on the other side, see which ones he has, and then we can go from there.
So that may be a consideration on whether or not you encourage them not to bring it up again or not. But
It'll be left up to the author, but I will have that conversation with them and the president. Linda?
I've heard from some Republicans that they are unhappy that you are not actively working to try and get override votes, that you're not reaching out to membership and trying to find out where they are in bills and try and get them to support an override. So what do you see your role being? Do you see your role as trying to, I mean, if you personally support overriding a bill, do you see your role as trying to corral votes for that?
Well, I think my statement said it whenever I put the statement out there that I was supportive of a veto session. As far as me going out and actually whipping up votes, I haven't done that in the past, and that's not how I work and operate. I will have my meetings with each delegation and caucus and sit down and figure out our strongest path forward. I think my members know as well as anybody that when we get to the Capitol to take care of the people's business, that's what we're there to do.
But if you thought it was important enough to have a veto session, why wouldn't you think it was important enough to try and get the votes needed to actually override?
I think with the conversations that I've had with members, and I think I said that earlier, I think the conversation that I had with members that have called me, I'm comfortable and I feel positive enough that we have the numbers.
On which bills?
On veto overrides.
For which ones?
On veto overrides.
I mean, like, are we talking on more than the two bills that are the central bills of the conversation?
I think, of course, the two biggest ones in the room is the Women's Protection Act and the constitutional carry. I feel comfortable 100% on the Women's Protection Act bill. Yes, sir.
What are your legislative plans for any investigation into the death of Ronald Green? And have you appointed any members to that panel? And if so, do they have subpoena power?
We have not put together a task force for any of that. We've had conversations with state police. FBI is doing a federal investigation on it, and we will follow up with them. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Aside from the transgender in sports and constitutional carry bill, what are some other, just a rough idea of other bills that are top on the priority?
I haven't had a big push on any of the other ones. I've had a few members reach out to me about one or two maybe, but one was an elections bill and one was a vaccine bill. That was the two that I've had conversation with, but it wasn't a whole lot of members that had reached out to me about them. So we'll have that conversation when we meet today with the authors. Yes, sir.
I don't remember the bill number, but is there a lot of interest in overriding the veto concerning the members of the water regulation body in Baton Rouge? Yeah.
Say that again for me, the last part.
The Baton Rouge Aquaman
Oh, okay.
bill that members.
That's a Senate. Yes, sir. That's a Senate bill. I haven't had much conversation with that author. Paige is taking up those. Of course, you know that the Senate bills have to start on the Senate side. House bills have to start on that side. I haven't had conversation with the president yet on those bills like that. I know there is some concern on that bill, and I think there was a few people, senators, that just by passing said that they were in support of that bill. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right. All right. One more.
Okay, well, didn't necessarily want to ask this question publicly, but given what's going on now, I guess I will. You are particularly fond, I'm glad you're here today, but you're not particularly fond of talking to the media, and there's been some more restrictions put on the media in the House, and since we're at the Baton Rouge Press Club, I thought I would ask why that is. It's very difficult for us to talk to you about these issues normally.
So I don't think I've in my time here, I've never been a big press guy at all. That's just who I am as a person. I haven't put in any more restrictions than I have on anybody else when it comes to the COVID issues that we've had. Unfortunately, in my term, and if you look at the natural disasters that we've had and the pandemic that we've had to make those adjustments. And look, there may be adjustments coming down with the numbers going up now. We may have to make more adjustments. I'm not sure, but it's never nothing that's targeted directly at press by themselves in any way, shape, or form. It's just things that we've done in the House to have procedure to be able to be there and be safe. I think we're one of the only capitals in the country that hadn't had a pandemic breakout in the Capitol itself. I'm proud of that part of it. I think the precautions that we've done have made it better for us to come in and get the people's work done. So that's what we've done. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. We appreciate you coming in. We know your schedule has been swamped. I just want to make a quick announcement before I lose you guys. Next week's speaker will be the Bridge Center for Hope. Executive Director Charlotte Claiborne will be here, as well as the RI International Louisiana Director Alicia Best. So that will be next Monday here at Drusilla, Bridge Center for Hope Executive Director. So if you obviously have planned to eat lunch, that should be here shortly. Thank you.